This is Buzz Lightyear. He's a cool action figure, got a lot of great features, but I don't want to keep him as Buzz anymore. I want to change him into something else, so I'm going to rip his head off. Head gone. Took a little bit of work, but I managed to get it off. I had to glue that peg back in again because it just fell into the body cavity. It was a bit fiddly, but I did it anyway. And I'm going to paint this up and make it look totally different. I'm going to sand off the manufacturer and legalese jargon on his butt. Don't want that there. Get it down nice and smooth. Lovely. And this is just a clear piece of plastic that I found in my Greeblies box. I'm going to just change some of the features on the suit just so it looks a bit more original. So I'm just going to glue this over the top of these three little buttons, and this is another piece of something else, something random. I'm just going to stick it to his abdomen. And this is a ball peg off another character that was broken, so I'm going to use that to glue in place here. And this is a empty roll-on deodorant bottle, and I'm going to be turning this into his rocket pack. I'm just sticking some thumbtacks just to create some sort of feature, make it look like little bolts. Also drilling holes in the feet and the toes and putting more thumbtacks on them to make them look like gnarly bolts on the end of his shoes. This is off a deodorant can or something, I'm not too sure. I've just marked where I'm going to put the Milliput, and I'm going to sculpt a helmet using this stuff. Anybody who's watched me use Milliput before, it's 2-part epoxy that you just knead together so it's all consistent and sticky, and it works a lot like putty. And I'm just going to sculpt a new helmet, just working to my marks so I don't overshoot the areas that get in the way of the suit when I want to rest it on his shoulders. I'm just making some features just to give it that retro look. The good thing about Milliput is it's water soluble, so you can use water to smooth it out, take away some of those lumps and cracks and things. Masked off. I've got everything in place that I want. It's the roll-on bottle, deodorant bottle, with a lid shoved in the bottom to give it a jetpack look. Some other random pieces stuck onto it just to give it interest. And it's ready to spray. So I'm just going to hit it with an undercoat first. Just give it a all-over look, uniform everything. Tie it all in. There we have no more Buzz Lightyear. Now it's going to be something else entirely. So I sprayed it grey first, then I'm going to spray it silver all over, which looks quite dramatic, very 50s retro. I don't want that to be silver all over, I want to spray it yellow. And I'll spray the yellow over the silver because I've masked off some of the areas which will still have silver coming through. And now I'm going to remove the masking tape from the helmet, which protect the visor area. Had a little bit of bleed on here, but that's easily cleaned off this plastic. And then straight away it's looking a lot more like a space helmet. Moving the masking off the areas that I wanted to remain silver. I haven't been totally anal about the masking because I'll be able to touch up whatever I need to with some silver and a brush. And while I was removing this, my jetpack came loose, so now it's a swivel jetpack, but I could always super glue it back into place later anyway. There's a screw holding it in. So it's starting to take shape now. Still a few more details I need to pay attention to, but it's coming along. So just touching up those chrome areas with a chrome silver acrylic, just neatening up the lines and cutting into the areas that I didn't quite cover with the masking tape. I used a Fiddly Bits aluminium spray can for the all over, but I'm finishing it off with a Mr. Hobby metallic silver, which is a pretty good match for the Fiddly Bits aluminium. Now I'm using Tamiya orange, gloss orange, just to give it some, break up that yellow a bit more and give it some orange accents that'll really tie it in with the whole retro look. And a red touch here and there, just to break it up a bit more. You can see the orange accents throughout the suit, because that's a hell of a lot of yellow. Now I'm going to weather the suit with some brown liquid shoe polish on the yellow. I think it gives it a more naturalistic look to the yellow weathering over the black. It's not quite so strong, a bit more subtle. So the approach is always the same, just brush it on liberally and then rag it off. Obviously leaving something behind. But it just gives it this nice texture and this focus, this interest that you might not otherwise get. This version of Rocketman is going to be quite weathered and beaten up and worn and torn. All the yellow areas are going to get the brown shoe polish treatment. Different techniques to removing it. I'm trying to stay away from the silver with the brown because I need to go back in over the silver with black. And I'm just dabbing it off with a rag to leave a certain texture behind as opposed to wiping it off. When it was still chrome, I'm touching it up with masking it with some hot dog sauce, and then I just scrape it off again after I've done the yellow, and you can see the chipping effect that you get from it. So wherever I put the hot dog sauce, the paint rubs off to reveal the silver underneath. silver areas are getting the black shoe polish treatment to weather them down. In this situation, I'm going to coat it with black shoe polish and I'm going to let it to dry because I want it to be a much more grimy look as opposed to just a tarnished silver. I want some of the heavier black to remain behind. Once it's dry, I'm going to go back in there with a damp scouring sponge and hot water. This helps break up that liquid shoe polish and remove it a lot easier. Being careful not to be too harsh on it because I don't want to remove the silver paint as well. Now I'm giving the rest of the yellow part of the suit the brown shoe polish treatment. I'm just adhering to all the edges and lines in the sculpt just to try to minimise the amount of weathering I do to it. That's hard to say. And I'm dabbing it off carefully, just doing a little bit of a section at a time. I want that brown to sort of stay in all those lines and panel edges. The dabbing motion does create a nice texture. I still felt like it was a bit too dirty, so now I'm just cleaning up some of the shoe polish with a damp sponge and hot water. The jet thruster was a bit too clean, so I'm just giving it a carbon scoring with some black shoe polish. And I felt there was still too much yellow, so I went back in over the yellow with the silver and painted the chest panels just to give it more contrast. And now I'm tarnishing it down with a black shoe polish and removing the excess while it's still wet. In and around the, the collar, the inside collar, I'd painted it silver, so I'm just tarnishing that down with the black as well. The final product, you won't actually see this with the helmet on, but I also want to make a version with a sculpted from scratch head. That may be in a further video down the line. Here's the final product, humans, and it's a far departure from the Buzz Lightyear figure. Vastly different colours, weathered right down, and it is my version of a retro Rocketman. So this has been Retro Rocketman, humans. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Over and out.